Hello, hello. Welcome to Can AI Help Authors? Yes, of course. Yes, we wouldn't be talking about it if AI couldn't. Otherwise, it would be a big fast no. And we're going to get started in about 3 minutes. And as you come on, just please put bestseller in the chat so I know you're here and I can say hello, and then we can get started. Um, I am going to be sharing a bunch of details about how authors can use AI without being, like on the line of no, no. Like we don't go into the no, no area when we're using AI. So there are a couple things that obviously we don't do, and we'll talk about those. And how to use AI in a way that is smart, and if you're not doing this, you will be left behind because you will be doing something manually that literally a click of a button could save you a day of time. I have been shocked by how fast I can do and achieve certain tasks without having to like cull through revisions and just like dig deep into transcripts. Just the worst. And so welcome and thank you for being here and for being here for yourself. It's really, I think it's really hard to get really practical tips, but don't worry about it because we're going to do that today. I'm Allison Lane. I help women get book deals and get their books out and into the world and launch as bestsellers. So today we're going to be talking about AI, especially because there's so much AI and we're being marketed to by all these new AI. And once you start using one tool, it gets gobbled up by another tool or eclipsed by another tool. So, what I'm going to share with you today is what I know and what I use, and some rules of the road so that you don't feel like you're being pulled this way and that way, because you don't need to be the expert of all AI. You need to start with a few tools that are easy for you and that work, and know exactly what you're going to be asking them to do. This is not like having a robot or having a something like a set it and forget it. You can ask the AI to do something for you, and it will initiate the work on your behalf. That's not how the AI that I use works. I'm sure those things do occur, but for me, what I can tell you about AI for authors is that yes, AI can help you. You have to choose what you ask it to do and know that you are asking it to the AI assistant to work on your behalf. So think of it like as having an intern. You're going to have to review the intern's work. They are going to get things wrong until you train them correctly. And you're going to keep their responsibility this narrow so that you can keep track of what they're doing. And eventually they'll learn and you might get more comfortable and give them more to do. But start slow when you're working with AI. Okay, a couple of things that I know about authors is that they always have a different job. They always have they're an author and, or they're a professor and. So if that's you, raise your hand, because I know that there are people working in higher ed, in hospitals, who are maintaining thriving medical practices, who are also authors. So everyone is working multiple jobs, has multiple roles. And I know that That's true because we're multi-passionate, and the world today allows us to be multi-passionate, so hooray us. Still, as we're trying to do all the things, run a medical practice and be an author and be a speaker or a podcaster, uh, and, uh, teach your courses at university. Your time is precious. It's always been precious. We have to devote our time really wisely. So, authors have to be in a lot of places at once. They constantly say to me, "I don't have time to learn this." But what they really mean is, I don't have more time. I need to be able to be selective and do the things that only I can do, which is true. And you need to know that the time that you're spending on, um, getting speaking gigs or managing your social or, pitching podcasts or responding to your publisher's requests are those all happen inside of your awake hours, and usually those things happen in, uh, you know, in pieces of, 8 stolen minutes, 8 minutes here, 12 minutes there, and if you use AI wisely, you won't feel like you're being drawn and quartered because you'll know exactly what to do, and you'll feel comfortable that when you're, playing with your kids or visiting your mom, that you won't be thinking in the back of your mind, "Oh, I should be doing this other thing," or "I have so much work to do because my publisher wants to," just sent me a note asking me for, um, my book's description, but it needs to be written for um, the sales brochure, not the back of the book. Like, what? Why are these 2 things different? They are. Your book will end up needing, 11 versions of its description. 11. I say 11, that is not hyperbole. That's not exaggeration. It's your book will end up with 11 descriptions. So, hooray for your book. But you need to know that you don't need to write all of these from scratch because AI can help. So, today I'm gonna share with you how AI can help authors and what not to do. So let's start with what not to do because you, as an author, know that you cannot ask AI to write your novel for you. We do not ask AI to generate your book and then call it your own. A couple problems with that. Obviously, integrity. Duh. But also, AI is dumb. It will make up facts. If you're writing nonfiction and you ask AI to write on your behalf, it will uh, falsify facts, which the technologists out there call, um, they have a fancy word for it that sounds like innocuous, but it really means AI is stupid. Um, it'll come to me in a minute. But AI makes things up, um, and it's like it's tripping, and then you have to go and uh, verify that it gave you the fact that is correct, but you won't be able to find the source of the fact. That's crazy, right? So we can't ask AI to generate content from scratch. I don't love, doing that. I've never been able to do that well. Um, so I don't use AI for that, and I suggest that you don't either. Another thing that I urge you to not do is put your manuscript into AI, like load it into Claude or ChatGPT and ask then the AI tool to generate companion pieces for you or essays or just don't put your entire manuscript into AI. Good things cannot come from that. There are copyright issues that have not been identified yet or solved. So definitely don't do that. And don't put anyone else's books, manuscript into AI. It's bad pool. So those are some don'ts. Also, this is the last don't is don't get memberships or buy a bunch of AI tools. You don't need a ton. You really don't. You need to know what you need to ask AI to do and then what you're going to do with those tools. And the more you get accustomed to one tool or one or two tools, better. The better for you, because part of the time that gets wasted is um, is dealing with like how does it work, where's the pull down menu, what kind of prompt do I have to give it, and that sucks. I don't want that for you at all. So I'm going to jump into a couple things here and make sure that we are good to go. Making sure that my everything is working. Looking at my settings, making sure. Okay. All right. So number one, the first thing that I suggest you do with AI is you can use it to get smarter about your website and your owned media. So that means your website, the digital things that you own, that you have control over, that no one else has control over. So perhaps your website, your social media profile, and your profile should be largely the same on across platforms. So you should be, you should be using the same picture, right? Uh, but a couple of things that AI can do that it didn't used to be able to do, which is a total game changer. Uh, One, you can use AI, and a bunch of different tools do this. I'll tell you which ones I use. And if you want the tools that I have, I'll send them. I'll send you my list with links to all of them. You can just put bestseller in the chat, and I'll send it to you. Uh, yeah. So one of the things I do for website development is it's not just writing the website, because you know how generally to write a website, but the architecture of a website is usually like section one is what you do and the value you bring to the world, and section two is might be introducing your book or some testimonials, and section three is your bio. And so all of these things matter, right? But on the back end, like the undercarriage of a website, you have to know these terms. So there are headlines that are headline one and headline two. And each web page can only have one headline that's the biggest. That's called H1. And then each section can have one headline number two. So you have an assortment of each web page can have one H1 and multiple H2s. But if you are not using AI to to advise you on what those terms can be, you are losing out because it's actually running search engine optimization for you. H1 and H2 headlines are searchable by Google and the search engines. So you might think, oh, but my website, I love my website, and my headline says She's awesome. Well, she's awesome is not really searchable. People aren't searching for that. So you're missing out if your H1 and H2 uh, tags aren't searchable, and AI will help you do that. You don't have to, you might not realize that that's what you're doing when you're building your website, but it is true. That's what you're doing. And for a long time, I didn't know that. And then someone very nicely said, your H1 and H2, they're not working for you. And I was like, come again? I don't understand. Now I do. So I'm telling you, your H1, H2, and the page description of your website, which is something that is on the back end of your site, and it's anywhere from 140 to 160 characters. And it's best if you let AI give you some suggestions on what that description should be. And if you're not accustomed to a page description, when you go and search for anything, party dress, and uh, and you get your responses, there's the name of the website, and then there's the description underneath. If you do not decide what your description is, the search engine will just choose whatever the first 140 characters of your website is, which might not actually help the person who's looking for you or the solution or the messages you provide. So you want to make sure that you're intentional about what that is. Let AI do that for you. Uh, and of course, your social descriptions. Social media descriptions have gone through a lot of evolution. It used to be where you'd have to put pithy things like cat lover, wild about coffee. Nobody cares unless you're writing a book about cats and coffee, that might be fun, but that's not relevant anymore. Social media bios are searchable. LinkedIn is a search engine. YouTube is a search engine. Your social profile should reflect what people are searching for. If they are, if you are a psychotherapist, people are not searching for psychotherapists. They're searching for, uh, to heal from trauma, or to find love, or to raise happy kids. So the SEO that you might not be thinking about, if you use AI, it will do the thinking for you based on the information you give it. So I'm sure you've heard this saying, poo in, poo out, right? You've got to give the machine the right information in order to get something out that's useful. And AI is the same thing. So you can't just ask it, write a bio about me, without telling it who you are. So you can give it your existing bio. You don't have to be fancy. I use a couple, and I will share them with you now. Um, I use harpa.ai. It is a free Chrome extension. I am going to put it in the chat because it is an all-in-one uh, AI. And what I love about it is that it has the prompts already baked in. So instead of me having to say, please act as a expert copywriter um, and develop and you are an expert digital marketer, or you are an accountant, please add these things up. And yes, Harpa, and the link is in the chat. It's Harpa, HARPA.ai, and it's a free Chrome extension. It is super powerful. It has over 100 prompts baked in where I can go to my own website, click a button, and it will tell me what's wrong with it. It will tell me how to improve. It will give me better, improved suggestions for my page description, for articles I should be writing based on what I've put on my website, for my H1 and H2 tags, for it, and also it will give me descriptions for the images that I use, because you also should, all of your photos on your website, on the back end of your website, should have alternative descriptions. It's the image alt text. You've got to fill all that in. And if you don't, you are missing out on how websites work, which, again, if someone doesn't tell you this, how would you know? Nobody has time to know all of this. So um, I'm so grateful to know Sandra Sciano, who has a podcast called The Long Game. She is delish and smart and an expert marketer. And it's what she shared with me a few years ago. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have time to become an expert in this. My background is I ran PR and marketing for global companies for 25 years. You wouldn't know it because I look like I'm 13, which is thank you to AI, the, polish up my look. I'm really like a wizened, like a bad Grimm's fairy tale. Uh, so she told me, "Oh yeah, here you go." So when I started my company, I didn't know how to build a website. I was used to turning to the digital marketing head and or manager and saying, "Oh, we need a website, or we need the email campaign to do XYZ." And somebody would say, sure, yeah, got it, because I'm a big picture person. Well, now I know how to do all the things. So I'm sharing it with you because I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. And also because it's a pain in the tuchus. It especially when you have a mission and you're likely you're in two different roles professionally and taking care of people, parents, an aunt, children, yourself. You have a lot going on, and you aren't the person who's going to procrastinate and just keep on taking, like, I'm going to learn how to build different types of websites. That's not you. That's not me. I don't want to know how. I want to know how to do this and move on. So I'm sure that that's you too, because Jiminy Christmas. That's how I feel about it. Okay, so harpa.ai, use it right away. I am going to separately, I'm doing a exclusive demo training on how to build a month's worth of content in less than an hour. And I will be showing you how to do all of these things. That's coming up in June. Let me tell you exactly when. June 20th. So, and that is, if you're interested in that, I'll send you the link to sign up. Now, a couple of other things that you can ask AI to do that will certainly help. One of the things that publishers will do to you is that they will not tell you the tools that they're going to need for you to weigh in on, the materials, because they are busy and that have never put together a list of the comprehensive um, list of materials that they will end up needing from an author. Instead, what will happen is on a Tuesday afternoon, someone there, probably, like the assistant to the assistant to the assistant, will send you an email and say, hey, can you give us a bio for the sales catalog? And you will think, but you have my bio already. It's in my book proposal, and you already put it on your website. And what they're saying is, yeah, but we want you to write it for the sales catalog. And they will not give you an example of the sales catalog. You've never seen the sales catalog, and they're not going to provide that to you. Fun, right? So, and they will want your input by like end of week, but Friday's a holiday. So, literally by Thursday, and you're teaching class or seeing patients all of Wednesday. So, you have 5 minutes to do this. So, usually what happens is my clients will call me and say, they want this. And I'll be like, yep, yeah, we already prepared for that. We already know that that's happening because that is one bio that they're going to want of 11 that you will need. And you need to keep track of all of these different bios and also know that you're not recreating the wheel. We already know what these need to look like. And you can, even if you're not working directly with me, you can give AI, you could give this to Harpa or Claude or ChatGPT. You can ask it to create a bio for certain use using an example that you already have seen that you like. So I have done this successfully. And what is smart about this trick is that you are not asking AI to write from scratch about you. Maybe you give it your back of book description or the bio that you created that's in your book proposal, or just a bunch of content about you. Maybe you don't even have those things yet. You're just thinking, I need to submit a bio for this speaking engagement or this podcast, and it needs to be written in third person with my name at the end. Like on podcasts, like, welcome my next guest. She's a redhead from Annapolis, Maryland, and now helps women get their books into the world. Welcome, Allison Lane. So the name is at the end. So that's a different format. It's all the same ingredients. It's a different format. So what I can do and what you can do is give your existing content to the AI tool of your choice, and then ask it to develop a version that's based on an example that you've already seen. Whether it's if you're presenting at a conference, you know what the other bios are that look good on their website. Cut and paste one and say, write it in this format, but only use the content that I'm giving you in brackets, and make sure you put your approved content in brackets. And that way the AI knows to stay inside the lines, but then it knows, oh, well, she needs the bio to only be 120 words, or that it needs to be written in third person or first person, or in reverse chronology. This will save you tons of time. What you don't want to do is develop all these different versions of bios before you need them, because hypothetical content never is fun. There's never an urgency, and it never turns out to be useful in the end. So for sure, don't develop content for your marketing until you need it, because it's just hypothetical, and you won't end up using it because it'll be a pain in the tuchus for you. Other ways to use AI, you can use a transcription service like Otter.ai. So Otter is also free. And if you want a list of the tech that I like, that all of these have like a paid version, but also the free version is very, very good. So Otter is a transcription service. If you are Speaking at an event, put your phone in front of you and record the chat and the Q&A. If you're having a book event and someone is interviewing you, record the Q&A. I don't care if you have to tuck your phone in your bra. Record yourself, because you will be delivering magic i- in the moment, and you will black out and not remember what it was that you said. But people will say, "Oh my God, that was so moving. I so connected with you." And you'll be like, "I have no idea what I said, Allison." And that's fine. But you need to record that, because the transcript is gold. It will reveal to you those power statements, those mic drop moments that you want to capture so you can say them again, because the interview is no time for improv or ad libbing or original content. You know why you're there. So you're going to prepare. You want to prepare with your most notable, powerful uh, statements, so that the people in the room and the people who are listening, if it's recorded, get the most insight from experiencing the talk. So use Otter, get that transcript, and then copy and paste that transcript and give it to one of the AI tools. You can throw it into Claude and ask it, please pull out my power quotes. And that way you don't have to scroll through and then relive. If you give a talk or a podcast interview that's an hour long transcript with you combing through to see what the power quotes are, and you only really need 3 or 4. No, nobody has time for that. AI will figure it out. Or you can say, highlight all of the power quotes, and at least then you can have a selection. But then you save all those minutes, and the minutes add up. So you don't have to scroll through an hour-long transcript, which is pages and pages and pages. Pages and more pages. That is not a good use of your time. You can, so those are a couple of the ways that I use AI, especially because even us talking today, I am going to use this transcript, put it into AI, and ask it to identify power quotes. And also, I can put it into my favorite AI tool that is a video editor called Descript or Descript, depending on who you are. It's like a tomato sort of thing. Uh, so Descript. It is literally called Descript. And I can load in an entire video or just audio or just transcript for a video, and then click a couple buttons and it will identify, a 1 minute or a 30-second video clip that then it edits for me. Rather than a year ago, I'd have to go by hand manually and look for the moments that were the most powerful, and it would take me hours and freaking hours and many, many frustrating afternoons. And then I would never get to it. But now, you take the video or you take the audio and you put it in there, and it is like giving the content that you've already generated to an intern, and ask it to do a couple things for you. The greatest thing about the AI now is that the prompts are baked in. You do not have to please don't do this. Do not buy a list of powerful prompts for AI. you don't have to do that. There were some, at the beginning of ChatGPT, there were some very smart entrepreneurs who were selling powerful quotes for this and powerful. You don't need to do that. Those things are all baked in now. And even then, you could have asked me, and I would have just told you, this is what I do. Because when I find a prompt that works, I cut and paste it into a Google spreadsheet for myself so I can cut and paste it when I need it. But now I find I don't even need those things. And you shouldn't either. So there are the AI that will take a long video and produce shorter ones is called Descript, like description, but Descript. And it will let you load in 2 hours of video a month for free. Or you can get the monthly version and it's like 20 bucks a month. And if that's for you, I will just put DM me, or if you're DM me on LinkedIn or YouTube, and I will send you my list with links so that you don't have to figure it out. Yeah, Descript is it's my jam and my jelly. It really delivers because previously I was using one service for a transcription, and then I would cut and paste that, and one service for this, one for service for that, and it was a pain in the butt. The thing that I do like Otter for, which is just transcription, is if you're interviewing people and you're in person. So I don't use Descript for that. I use Descript for after the fact, but in the moment with Otter, I have written full articles while walking the dog because I'm just talking. I just stick it in my pocket. Or I, in line picking up the kids at carpool because you got to get there like 12 minutes early in order to get like close to the front. And then everyone sits in their cars and bakes or freezes for another 20 minutes. So that is when I have captured thoughts, transcribed thoughts that become an article. And 5 minutes of a transcription can become a 1,200 word article, easy sneezy, just by putting it into AI and saying, use this text only. Do not generate text on my behalf. You are an expert copywriter. Write an article from what I've given you. Write an email from what I've given you. Write a newsletter from what I've given you. Write social posts from what I've given you. Thing is, you don't have to actually tell it those things now if you use some of the tools wisely and you know how to use them, because a lot of these prompts are baked in. So you don't have to become an expert in the AI anymore. That's the greatest thing. I'm so glad I'm here to help you get your edge as an author because we don't need to do all the things and we don't need to know all the things. What we do need to do is help each other, because your voice matters and your message matters, your experience matters. And if you're only doing your day-to-day work and you forget to look up and share it, the the feeling of, wow, I have all this wisdom and people need to know. Well, people need to know now, not when you're retired, not when you've decided to transition out of your leadership role. Because when you stop doing the thing that you're an expert in, that and you want to like put together your insights of having been the lead researcher on cancer research, like, well, by then once you're out of the game, your message is less relevant because you're not cutting edge anymore. So we need to know what your wisdom is now while you're doing the thing, and my job is to make that easy and make it as fun as possible, and also remove the pain of all this technology, because technology tangles are just time sucks. They are obstacles that nobody needs. So let me check the chats. Yes, Otter is the one. Let's see. Someone's saying, yes, Harpa. Yes. Um, Patrice, hello. Um, Dr. Cross, hello. Let's see. Otter is the one. No, Otter will not transcribe videos. It might now, but Otter is the one that if you're a journalist and you're interviewing people in person, you put on Otter. I have done 8 hours of interviews on site at a military base just with Otter. And instead of having to go back and spend to the office and spend 2 days writing up my notes, Otter took all my notes for me and got re- absolute accurate quotes for me. 8 hours. So powerful. And so all I had to do was export that, send it to myself in an email, and on the plane back to my home, I was able to write the article and the blog that I needed to write right then and there. So it saved me 2 whole days of just piecing through stuff. So that's what Otter is great for, is in the moment. And then Descript is the other one I use. The thing is, when authors particularly think about AI, they think, "Oh, I I'm not comfortable using AI," and they raise an eyebrow at like it's somehow nefarious or like cheating. If a calculator is cheating instead of, pencil and paper, then, you know, AI is everywhere. Google is AI. When Spotify is AI, it's not just looking at what you've told it. It's coming up with new playlists on behalf of what it thinks that you like. So it is getting smarter and it's getting to know you. Pinterest uses AI. The more you tell Pinterest, I like this or I'm looking for this, the more it tries to show you other things that it might like. That's why it only shows me jewel tones because I don't look good in anything taupe or black. So I'm always looking for, like fashion for the over 50s for in jewel tones because I'm a redhead and I don't want to wear taupe ever. Some people can do that, not me at all. So, yes, someone says I took notes on my phone at a conference and accidentally shook my phone and erased the entire day. Holy poo. That blows. I am so sorry for you. Do not use your phone to take notes or um uh, or like type out like text yourself. What a horrible, first of all, it's hard on your thumbs. I don't know if anyone feels like this, but like when I'm texting or whatever, I think I'm getting a callus. You don't need to do that. Just turn on the transcript, or if you don't want to record the entire thing, you can, whisper into it. Make sure to go to this website that the speaker said, and you can just speak it and then it's captured. But if you do it in notes, you still have to go and press save or whatever. With Otter, you can just pause, unpause, pause, unpause. And it it saves it no matter what. So don't try and do things manually, even though we're all used to, just send yourself a text. No thanks. That means I have to go into my texts, cut and paste those into an email, and then email myself a bunch of texts. No thanks. Nobody has time for that. So you've got to use AI smart and commit to a couple tools that are all in ones. So you don't need Scribe and Otter. Scribe is a transcription service for, you give it a video or an audio and it spits out the transcription, but you pay for that and it's like, I don't know, like a dollar for 10 minutes. That's $6 an hour. See the fast math that I was doing? And um and that adds up, over a year. Even if your company or your organization is paying for it, it's not worth it because Otter is free. You get my drift? Okay. So to sum up, authors, do not put your manuscript into AI. Do not put someone else's manuscript into AI. And do not ask AI to generate content on your behalf unless you're giving it the raw source material. What you can do is you can ask it to make your material better, your website better. You can ask it to rewrite your bio, create different versions of material that you do give it, like a bio or a book description. You can use like active recording AI like Otter so that you can be smarter out in the world, pay attention, but also be recording for, later notes or to take later action or to write an article or a blog or an email or social about the experience that you had. Anything that you're doing manually right now, I mean, I love a pencil and paper like the next gal, but if you're doing it manually so that you can create another work stream for yourself later, like, oh, when I get back to my office, then I'll put my notes into. No, time out, do not do that. That is a waste of your very, very precious moments, and it's not worth it. Before so someone's saying, do you not put your full transcript into AI? Oh yeah, you put your transcript. But if you wrote an entire book, do not put your entire manuscript into AI. If you wrote a white paper, or a research paper and that exists online, in is a peer reviewed site, yeah, that's already out there. But if you've written a book, your manuscript is not just available on the internet. So do not upload your book's manuscript to AI. Certainly, peer-reviewed publications, uh, articles that exist on, media sites, those are already in the world for sure. You can put those in. And transcripts that that you spoke. I mean, sometimes I talk to myself while I'm putting on my makeup and, I can do my makeup in 7 minutes. In 7 minutes, that's a 1,000-word article, if I'm on a tear. You could do it. You can do it. Uh, and just think about all the moments you're saving. You can definitely create a month's worth of um, content or do a month's worth of work inside of an hour. If you do what I say, only because I've done all the mistakes. So now I have a method that's faster and more furious than anything, because I know that uh, what to do and what not to do. Um, Someone is asking, does your manuscript become public domain if it's uploaded to AI? I don't know. Maybe. I don't think the world knows. I don't think that's been legislated. I think there are a ton of issues about that. And I certainly would not want you to contribute um, to your unpublished manuscript or your published manuscript into that. Publishers have not figured that out yet, and it's too soon. So beware. Yeah, beware. What you can do is regenerate content. So there's generative AI when you're saying, "Hey, write me a novel about a woman who goes on a hike and reconnects with herself, aka Wild by Cheryl Strayed." That's not, that asking AI to generate your book for you. No, asking AI to generate, uh, maybe to spell check something for you or take a version of your page and a half bio and create um, a, two-sentence bio that goes on a speaker site that's based on a different example of someone else's two-sentence bio. Yeah, for sure. Because otherwise you will spend 45 minutes trying to stuff a page and a half worth of words into 2 sentences. And unless you're an expert copywriter, you don't need to do that. You can press a button. You can ask me. You can, AI can definitely do that for you if you give it the right format. So you do, the key is to tell AI, follow this format, but only use my content. And here's my content. Okay. All right. You can, one last question here. If you ask AI to improve something you've written and then use that copy, will it show up as AI generated if tested? That is, I don't know. I think you would want to, um, there are tools where you can test your content to see if it is, flagged as generated. Um, but I don't know enough about that to tell you. I can look into it. I can for sure look into it and come back to you when I figure that out. Mainly, for marketing content, for for uh, even like taking a 1,500 word article and um, making it tighter so that, maybe the editor at the media outlet says, like, this is great, but now we only have a page and a half instead of the 4 pages we thought. So we need you to cut it by half or by a third. Well, you can ask AI for a couple versions and then see. It's not perfect. Remember, you're treating AI like an intern. It's a start. So you're not just going to cut and paste and be like, ta-da! You are going to look it over, but it's still saving you a shit ton of time. And that's what all authors need, is to protect the time you have for creation, because you are creating magic out of your noggin, out of nowhere, right out of here. So we want to protect that time, not spend time untangling the tech, which I am horrible at tech, and I'm telling you, I can do this and super fast. I'm happy to show you. I hope that you'll join me on Friday, um, this Friday at 12:30 Eastern for the essentials you need for an author website, here on LinkedIn and also everywhere. You'll be able to get the replay too. All right, until next time.